Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's November 22nd, about 1:30 in the afternoon. Out here in the bee yard to replenish the hard candy in each of the candy boards on the hives. So I've been out of town since the end of September, which is when I initially gave the hives the hard candy. So for me, that's about a month early. Usually, well, in the years past, I added the candy boards and the hard candy towards the end of October, right as the season starts to change, but due to work commitments, I had to leave town early this year, which kind of sped up my timeline. So I already took a peek in a few of the hives, and because I think all y'all are curious as well, we're going to do that here in a second to show you just how fast some of the hives can consume 15 pounds of hard candy. Spoiler alert, I'm replenishing the hard candy for a reason, because all the hives have consumed the first batch, and I can't remember already, it was either hive 1 or 2, but it looks like from a quick inspection, well, a quick peek, it looks like one of those hives started to create some burr comb, as y'all know, in the open space. So if bees have open space, they're going to use it, which is why one of these hives already started to fill that space with some comb, and maybe we'll see some eggs, not sure. So to top things off on the topic of being out of town for a little bit, somehow, and this is a first for me, somehow I have misplaced my hive tool. So I'll be using a pocket knife, which is a fantastic substitution. I just need to go grab my gloves, because I recall last year when I got into the hives and the weather was kind of like this, overcast, not exactly warm. I chose today because today's going to be the warmest out of the next week in unforeseeable future. It's about 67 degrees. It feels like 67. The only thing that's not working in my favor besides the overcast, it's also windy. So I will have the smoker lit up and I'll use it if I have to, but I'm not really, well, I don't plan on getting into the hives because it's just not smart breaking apart the propolis and just disrupting things. So today should be a pretty non-invasive time in the hives. Like I already said a few times, just going to replenish the candy boards and just kind of look around as much as I can. So I'm going to grab my gloves, grab one of the candy boards, and then we'll start with hive number 1, which is down this way. And I will be right back. Alright, here we go. Have not been in these hives since the end of September. So like I said, the goal really is to be quick and just replace the candy board. So this hive is actually looking okay, and yes, I can make an assessment that fast. So just the fact that they still have some hard candy, that's fantastic. I am not trying to disrupt them that much. So here's the tricky part, and I'll be honest with y'all, this is the first time I've used one of these pans to make hard candy. So the bee population isn't terribly that much, and you don't necessarily want to kill that many bees this time of year. Smoker, of course, is not working with me, so I am going to be careful enough. Okay. That didn't go as planned, but I guess it gets the job done. So just move it around. Presto. Didn't get all of it because I dropped some of it, but there we go. Yeah, so that wasn't too pretty, but got the job done, I guess. So let's close them back up. And forgot to point it out, but I think y'all saw it. There was a little burr comb built up through the I believe they call it give me a second, wire mesh, the stuff that the candy board is made out of. All right, let's move over to hive hive number 2. Also, I'm using the Gorilla Pod. It doesn't sit as high up as the GoPro handle, but I think it works. And if it seems like I'm moving fast, it's because I'm trying to. Let me go grab another candy board and get hive number 2 replenished. All right, let's see how they're looking. I'll try to remember to give you a up close shot. Oh yeah, so this hive was one of the stronger ones for sure this past year. Alright, awesome smoker, not wanting to cooperate. Let's try and do this a little smoother, perhaps. Nope, not smooth at all. So the candy boards also work as a little bit of an insulation layer, which is why I'm packing it nicely to the side, because I also plan on picking up some pollen patties this weekend and try and make some room for the pollen patties, which will be on that side. Alright, done with this one. Inner cover right here. Let's get this put back together. And they have, let me grab the sugar that fell to the front. Everything counts. And that's fine. Good for now. Turn that around. Close it up. I may or may not need to relight the smoker. However, I do plan on reversing the entrances. Actually, let's take a quick look at that real fast. So again, from the end of September, I put the larger entrance reducer on. Same thing down there, if you can't tell. And they seem to be doing just fine. However, with the colder temperatures that we had, should be using the smaller entrance reducer, so I'll do that last. Alright, here we are, hive number 3. This one's a little taller because it has a medium. That was a brand new medium. If you look back at the previous videos, you can see the progression that made. Brand new medium, brand new frames, brand new foundation. They filled it out within a month. I left it on here as a brood chamber, and then next year during the honey flow, I'll slide a queen reducer below it, and they'll use that as a super for honey. All right. Yeah. That's the only thing I have to say about using these baking pans or whatever they're called for the first time. Don't necessarily like it because the dimensions aren't the same. They're a little longer than the candy boards, which is why when I go to flip the candy board over, some's spilling because I'm absolutely missing part of the candy board. I really want to find my hive tool. That would be nice. And I'm going to take a second and get the smoker relit because I got 2 more hives to go here, and I just have a sneaky suspicion that one of these 2 is going to be a little more mean than the first 2. So let's see if I can get this thing going and get in there. good for now. Hopefully that smoke lasts. Few puffs. I moved some equipment around. If anybody noticed from the last few videos that I got a little more space to work out here. Alright, just because I haven't done so yet this video, let's do a quick up close look. So yeah, you can see that these two frames, these two frames are still pretty new. Those frames are built up nicely, and then that frame doesn't have too much on there, but they picked this thing clean. That candy board was just as full as the rest, and it is 100% empty. Alright, let's see if I can learn from my mistakes today. There we go. Not sure why the other two were so difficult, but it's fine. Let's see. So last year when I replenished the candy boards, I made the hard candy on some plywood, and you know, as I say that, I totally forgot to bring the wax paper to prevent a lot of sugar from falling down through the hive, but I think they'll use it no matter what. That is a rookie mistake on my part, but what I was going to say, what prompted that thought, is when you're adding your hard candy, you want to leave a little space in the front so they can kind of come and go through that entrance, and it also acts as a little bit of a ventilation. So yeah, just realized, totally forgot the wax paper, so I imagine, I don't know about a good bit, but I imagine some of the sugar fell through the hive. And sorry for the video if it's not the best angle. I have a feeling it's going to be that way just because the camera's not sitting as high as on the other tripod. So this last candy board is in the oven right now. I used just that much more water than I should have. It calls for 3 cups for 15 pounds of sugar. I used no kidding, like barely over 3 pounds, and it was just enough liquid to make it too runny. So I have that candy board in the oven right now, trying to not cool it down, trying to basically evaporate some of the water so I can get it added to hive number 4 today. And that's a good sign. It's very, very worried about this colony. They have some sugar left. That's fantastic. Nice little cluster over here. Also good to see. I have this hive facing the opposite direction because, well, the bee yard was rather full when I had added it. It was a late season swarm. But the reason I say I'm concerned about this hive is, if you can see, they've definitely been removing their dead at a pretty alarming rate. Alright, so that's it for today. Cole's Farm, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Quick video, basically just how to replenish candy boards. Like I said a few times, I guess. First time using these pans, and not really the biggest fan, just because, again, the dimensions are a little longer than the candy board itself, and as you can see, when I went to dump it, wasn't really paying that close attention. Partially my fault, 100% my fault. Missed, and you know, the bees, the ants, and all the other critters will have some food to enjoy. Food as in sugar. Alright, that's it for now. Cole's Farm, Jacksonville, North Carolina, end of November. Oh, one last thought. So on this colony, a few thoughts, right? And feel free to add your comments. Help me out if you're seeing something or thinking of something that I haven't mentioned. So because of the amount of bees on the ground here, I mean, I know that doesn't necessarily relate to the health of the hive, but, it makes me worried. So I left them as a double deep, as you can see. I was going to condense them down to a single deep, but at the same time, I think I said it earlier, I don't want to mess with hives too much, break apart the propolis, and cause more problems. So I might just let it roll. Our winters here, usually it gets the coldest late February, well, January through March. We've had snows the last 3 years in March, so November's still kind of early. It's 67 degrees today. We'll see what happens, I guess. Definitely looking forward to picking up some pollen patties from one of the club members on Saturday and getting those added to the candy boards. That will be a first for me. So the last 3 years I've added candy boards every winter, and the hives have seemed to overwinter just fine. However, that is the carbohydrate. The pollen patties is in the protein, and of course baby bees need a mixture of both. So we'll see how that goes. Right now the hives are still, well, the queens haven't started to build back up. For those that you don't know, that's all based off the summer and the winter solstice. The winter solstice, I believe, is December 22nd. It's usually the week of Christmas, and that's when the days become a little longer. Not by much at first, but a little longer. And that's also when the queens start building up their brood. They start laying more eggs, gearing up for spring. Sure, that might sound a little early, still in December, but you got to remember the majority of the colony, or the eggs that they're laying, are females, so the worker bees, and their cycle is about, 21 days, and they live a little longer because they're winter bees. And without getting too detailed, the colonies started building up, or the queens started building up their colonies around the winter solstice. That's the trigger. So they're not there yet, is what I'm getting at. They're about a month out, so I don't want to mess with them too much. That was a very long-winded explanation of thoughts on my mind. I'm just kind of excited to be out in the bee yard and messing with the bees because it's been a while. Anyway, if you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications of additional videos that are posted. If you have any questions about the candy boards or anything like that, or any tips or tricks for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as Cole's Farm NC. Thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate all the subscribers. Share with your friends.